Hello everybody, welcome back to Rose and Jones. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're going to be talking all about the House of Gallivant. So I mentioned in a previous review that I do have a discovery set of Gallivant and very briefly took a very quick peek at the 8 fragrances in the house. I also mentioned that I wouldn't be going through any of them because we're saving all that up for a collaboration video, and I'm so excited to be doing that with a very dear fragrance friend. I've been so looking forward to trying this house. Even more than that, I've been super excited to be doing this with Mr Jon Snow. Jon Snow is a fabulous reviewer over on Instagram. He is the heart and soul of our Instagram fragrance community. He is such a sweet guy. He does the most amazing fragrance reviews on his Instagram handle, which is Scentedsnowdrops. He writes in-depth, beautiful descriptions about all the fragrances that he comes across, and he's just a valued fragrance reviewer, always there for everybody. So I'm so happy to be doing this with him. I think it's his first YouTube collaboration. I could be wrong, and it's going to be super fun. So Jon, thank you so much for doing this collab with me. I am super humbled and super honoured. Okay, let's get into this. So the House of Gallivant is one that I'm hearing a lot of on YouTube and through different reviewers, and it's getting a lot of love, so I've been super eager to try out this house, as has Jon. And it seems that we were not the last two, but we were sort of trailing behind many others in actually obtaining our discovery sets and reviewing them. So we figured, let's do it together, why not? It'd be fun and actually really lovely. So what we're going to do is pick one fragrance every week, get together and compare reviews, or actually we're going to react to each other's reviews and take it in turns to be the one that reviews and reacts. Our first chosen fragrance, I'm going to be the one to review it, and he'll be the one to react. So it's going to be interesting and fun to compare our thoughts and feelings on each one, both a male and female perspective. So, the House of Gallivant, who are they, I hear you ask? So, they're a relatively new perfume brand that was based in London, created by Nick Steward, so this is his brand, and the idea behind it is all about the urban explorer. It's all about the urban explorer, and the collection is inspired by the most urban destinations. So obviously we have 8 fragrances so far in this house, and each one is named after a different destination, whether it's a capital. I think they're all capitals, aren't they? So it's a cool and trendy theme for the urban explorer, and even more kind of trendy and fun for those who aren't, like me, who stay at home and live in their bubble. I don't like to go too far, so actually it's kind of nice. I get to sample a little bit of different places without actually leaving the comfort of my home. Going in, and the first one we've sampled is Tokyo, and that's the one we're going to be reviewing today. So both myself and Jon have been trying this one out all week, so we can tell you exactly what we both think of it. So Tokyo is a spicy, zingy, woody fragrance, a playful tribute to Kodo, the Japanese way of fragrance. And in Tokyo, we have, I'll go through the notes. So we've got top notes of yuzu, which is an Asian citrus. We have bergamot, black pepper, cardamom and wasabi. Heart notes of kinoki, which is an Asian cypress tree. Cedar, incense, iris, rose, nutmeg. We've got base notes of amber, sandalwood, patchouli and vetiver. So it's nice to see that Tokyo does have some authentic Asian notes, i.e. yuzu, we've got hinoki even, we have wasabi. And reading the notes alone, I would expect it to be a very spicy, woody, fruity scent. It opens with a really bright and really strong, rich, resinous feeling. It's a little bit sweet, but I get a lot of pepper, and actually I get a lot of amber, just from my nose at least, which is a base note, but I do get a lot of that real resinous amber. I'm going to just spray it again because I have sprayed it on one arm, but it's already drying down a lot, so I'm just going to spray it again on that arm. Yeah, it's incredibly sharp. There's a real sharp opening, and I think that is probably from this hinoki cypress tree. You know, the evergreen freshness really comes through in the beginning, and that really does settle down quite quickly, however. And honestly, that middle section with those mid notes and that warm, resinous, sweet, scent really reminds me of another fragrance, and that is Hugo Boss Absolute. And this is one I really enjoy. And this is again a very warming, fruity, woody style of scent, and beautiful for sort of cooler months. So this fragrance does have similarities to the Hugo Boss Absolute and actually a few others that I'm thinking of. There's one defining thing in this fragrance that does set it apart, and that is the note of wasabi. And of course wasabi is that green, very strong mustard that you get in sushi. It's that spicy, hot, nose tingling relish. And that note, along with the pepper, is what I find very prominent in the mid. If anything, I'd like a bit more of that. I'd like a bit more of that spicy pepperiness, because it's actually quite nice. Although it is quite nose tingly, I quite enjoy that. Maybe 15-20 minutes in, I kind of lose that spiciness, which it could just be my skin, but it seems to eat it up quite quickly. And you're left with a very smooth, this cardamom, a smooth cardamom, smooth sandalwood, very woody, a hint of sweetness, not too much, and the peppers disappeared as well. So it's more this smooth, resinous, woody scent. But I do pick up on the yuzu and bergamot in the dry down. In fact, that seems to only creep up in the dry down. The dry down really makes me think of fruitcake. Not too much sweetness, take away the sweetness from that fruitcake and let it mature a little bit, and you get that kind of rich fruitcake, you know, fruity, dense. It's kind of like that, but very subtle. I feel like it's this really strong, thick scent, but not heavy. And in fact, this scent is not heavy at all. This is the interesting thing. The style of fragrance that I describe is a really rich, wintry, autumn scent, but it doesn't sit heavy on the skin. It actually is quite light. And because it doesn't have this bombastic sensation, I would definitely consider this more of a day scent for the cooler months, because it is very, very warming. And I will say as well that this is a masculine one for me, at least. I find this to be conventionally a masculine scent. I find the sillage to be fairly moderate, and I find the performance to be fairly moderate. I think by about 5 or 6 hours you would need to reapply. And I kind of like that about Tokyo, because when you get these very heavy fragrances that are rich and resinous and ambery and woody, they usually have this, you know, suffocating, bombastic performance. And maybe you don't always want that. It's nice to have that style of scent without it choking you and others around you. So I quite like that this one allows you to reapply and doesn't take over everything. I think this would be very appealing to a lot of people. And that is my review of Tokyo. So I'm super eager to see what Jon's review will be. At this stage, I have no idea how he feels about this fragrance and if he likes it or he doesn't, but I'm looking forward to his thoughts and obviously looking forward to seeing what he thinks about my review. So that was the first of the fragrances in this Gallivant house. We have 7 more, of course, to go. I don't know which one we're going to do next. We haven't yet decided. I think I'm allowed to choose the next one. I think Jon chose this one. Tell you what, I'm going to close my eyes right now. I promise I'm doing it. I promise. I'm closing my eyes. I'm going to just do the hand point thing, all right? So my eyes are now shut. I promise they are. What are we going for? What's this? Amsterdam. Fate has spoken. We are going to be doing Amsterdam. Jon, I hope you approve. But for now, we're going to wrap this up. That is all from me, and I'll now leave you in Jon's very capable hands to continue our reviews. That is all, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves.
Now then, as you can see from Lizzie's video, it's quite in depth and quite a lot of detail in there. And how do you follow something like that? Well, I'm going to try to. No Japanese props or kind of Japanese cow. A bit of incense, you know, make it look interesting. Well, first up I'll say, do I agree with what Lizzie said? Absolutely not. Of course I'm only joking. Plus it's all personal, isn't it? One thing I want to say is I really like these kind of matchbox packaging, because that's what you get from hotels where you go to remind you where you've been. Now, the first thing I'll say about it is I think both me and Lizzie like the scent, Boss's the scent. And what's weird is we both got that quite independently, because I was thinking it reminds me of that just because of it. It's quite a dusty fruity to me, not quite the same as Lizzie, but I find it quite a like dusty fruity. But anyway, what did I get? Now, I've kind of been on this every day, and I won't go through, you know, overlapping what Lizzie's kind of said, but to me I get kind of a similar opening, but to me I don't really get quite so much of the spice. I think there's a bit of a dry down on here. Actually, I'll spray it again on that one. This has been on about 5 hours or so. Now this one, yeah, I get a kick, a warmth from it, but I presume that was the wasabi. But I don't really know what wasabi is, so maybe not. And it smells very, very green. I don't know whether in my head it reminds me of avocado, or that these used to be these little sweets when I was young, candies to American people. There were these little round balls, and there were different fruit flavours, and there was one that was a watermelon flavour. And I think it's the yuzu. It's got quite a sweet punchy thing, but still with a kind of nice sort of wateriness, you know, like a watermelon, but not quite as watermelon smells papery to me. This is more juicy fruits. Now I get sort of, as you go into it, I also get quite a lot of cardamom, which is obviously lovely. Now, because I know it might be in it or not, iris is kind of the thing I feel. It doesn't smell like iris, but it's got that kind of sweet floral, almost waxiness about it, which gives it, to me anyway, I get quite a lot of a slight floral feel going through it. It's very nice, and obviously, you know, I'm quite a floral fan, so I enjoy that aspect of it, and it does stay quite sweet on me. Everyone else has kind of said how spicy it is or how vegetal it is. I actually get more the sweet floral, even sometimes a little bit of a candy feel. Like best, I don't think there's not tuberose in it, but it's got that kind of very fruity bubble gummy thing that a tuberose would give mixed with the flowers. Again, I think it's probably the yuzu and the other notes that I'm not really familiar with. As it goes into the dry down, I also get a bit of smokiness, sort of maybe an hour or two into it, just a bit, and the smokiness isn't there a long time, but it's kind of a dry smokiness, and I think this is when it reminds me of Boss the Scent the most, because of that dusty kind ofness. But then again, after about 2 hours, it maybe gets a bit more powdery and richer. The cake thing that Lizzie said is quite interesting, actually. I haven't really thought of that, but it is kind of like something you could imagine crumbling in your mouth, like a nice sweet thing, and a fruit cake would fit that, obviously. Also, again, as you get sort of just before the dry down, about 3-4 hours into it, I get a really like dark green note. Now maybe that's the wasabi, because I don't know. A bit like a dark dense vetiver, like a dry one, but like, you know, you've been chewing on grass, that kind of thing. And as it kind of develops on into the dry down, this is not a negative thing, but it sounds like it when I'm saying it. But it reminds me of when you've been bending a ruler and you've heated up the plastic and you smell it. Kind of smells a little bit like a kind of sweet semi-melted plastic, not a burning plastic because that's quite horrible, but like a hot plastic, or maybe a touch of vinyl, something like that, and which is quite unique in that. And I really do like this fragrance. It has similarities. You can kind of smell a bit of familiarity to it with it, but it's very unique. Despite my couple of pages of notes, I've kind of got to be brief. So kind of in conclusion, this is my favourite so far. I'm only joking because obviously it's the only one I've tried. It is a very nice, unique flavour. The reason, I got to choose first, I went for Tokyo first, is because I probably thought it'd be the one I struggled with the most. Not at all, not in the slightest. Like Lizzie says, it's refreshing, and it's quite lovely, and I don't really get much of the ambriness myself, but the woody kind of powderiness in the dry down, along with the lovely strange kind of plasticky smell, which again is probably the greener fruits and stuff going through it. I don't know. It's not a horrible plasticky smell, by the way. So yes, I do quite like this. So we'll see how the others go, but thank you, that was fun. Thanks Lizzie for doing this. I'm on the big one next week. I'm nervous already. Cheers folks.